Hi, my name is Colson, and this is my third year of 4-H.
And for this year of electrical, I'm going to make an extension cord, but it's not going to be your normal extension cord. It's going to have a reel in it. And this is the reel I designed with our computerized router. And for one of the sides, it'll have a ground fault. So in case it gets wet, it'll cut out and you'll be safe. And the other side, it'll have USB ports for maximum compatibility in case you don't have a block. And all those supplies I'm about to show you are going to fit inside this reel right here. And this is a handy cable box. And these are cable connectors. These are the two outlets I showed you earlier. This is the cover for the two outlets I showed you earlier. And this is a plug-in where you can plug the extension cord into the wall. And this is some wire, which you'll need to make it work. So we have 15 amp outlets. So we went with a 15 amp cable, which is a 14.3 SJOOW cable, which can handle up to 15 amp. And now I'm going to go over all the tools that you need for this project. These are the 3 screwdrivers that you really do need. This is a wire stripper. This is a wire cutter in case you need to shorten it. And this is solder. And this is a soldering gun. Be careful, it gets really hot. And this is a meter to check the voltage. And now I'm going to wire this one into the ground fault. So in case the ground fault gets something in it, it'll cut the circuit. And if this one gets something in it, the ground fault will cut the circuit the same way so no one gets hurt. Now we need a jumper cable to connect them to, and right here is a good strip of wire to do it. You may be wondering how much we need to strip off to get this stuff off. Right here is a stripper gauge to tell you how much you need to strip off. Just line it up and then you just strip. You just do it slightly and you just pull it off. There. And now that is a perfect strip. And next we're going to put solder on the ends that you just cut off to make sure all the wires stay together. Now that we got them all stripped and soldered, we can now start working with these wires. And now you take your jumper cable and you look back here and you'll see load and line. Line will go to your breaker or another part or wire. Load is connecting another outlet. So that's what we want to do right now. You see how the wire is white? And this says white right here. Sorry, this way. You put this into the same spot where it says white, and you take your screwdriver and you want to screw it so it's nice and tight. Right about like that. And you want to take your other outlet and then plug it into the other thing that says white, push it down in there, and then screw it in. Like this. Pretty sure. And now they are connected. And now we have this black wire. And you plug in the black wire into the hot one on the same thing, load. You just push that in there, make sure it's good and snug. Then you do the same thing on the other side and screw it in. Like that. And then you look at your other outlet and find the hot one. And you put the same wire into one of these in here. I've already gotten 2 ground wires and now I'm going to connect them with a wire nut. And now we have to knock out a hole in the back of our handy box to get the wire in. Now that I got the hole out, I have to use something to protect the cables. That's why I have a cable connector and it just goes in right there. And now how to install the cable connector is that you unscrew this, take this out. Oh. You take this out, you put this side in, make sure you hold it in there or just flip it over on a flat surface like that. So that stays. You take this piece that you just unscrewed, screw that thing on there, nice and tight, so it doesn't come off. And now that we gotten the clamp on, we're going to run the wire inside the box. until the insulation. And then you're gonna take a screwdriver, this is upside down. You're gonna take a screwdriver and then you're gonna screw this shut to where it's really tight. And now that we got the wires in the box, we are going to strip them to the appropriate length and then solder them so we can plug them into here. So what I'm gonna do now, or next, is I'm gonna take all these ground wires, grab some pliers, and twist them together, and then put a wire on them. And now that I got them all twisted together, now I put the wire nuts right here. And then you take your neutral wire and hot wire. You, either one doesn't matter, whichever one you put in first is your choice. And you take the neutral one, put it in here, screw it in, just like that. And then you take your hot wire and then screw it in to here. Then you just screw it in, just like that. There. Yeah, so you just grab your pliers, get a good grip of it, and wiggle it back and forth until it comes off. I think these are meant to come off because they are. If it was going into a normal home wall, you would not take these off. You would leave them on, or this would not work. Now that you got it all wired in, it's time to close the box. And now we got the extension cord all ready. Now it's time to sand this thing and get it painted. I went ahead and mounted the receptacle, and I got the cord fed through. And now all I have to do left is just untie just a tiny knot. And now I'm gonna cut the cord off to the length it needs to be, then I'm gonna put the plug on. Okay, I just stripped it to the length, and now I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of solder to keep it together. So now I have to feed the wires to the back of this so I can wire them into this. So if you see it, there's green, gold, and silver. Green, black, and tan. Tan goes to silver. Black goes to gold, and green goes to green. I got it all wired in, so now I'm gonna put this black, the black cover into the little plug so I can screw it all on. Gotta make sure it's nice and tight. Next step is to tighten this back piece on so it's nice and tight in there so the cord can't move. You also want to make sure that you push it in far enough so that it's pinching the black and not the colored cords. Now it's time to test it. So let's plug it in, see if it works. Now that it's plugged in, we're gonna see if the ground fault will trip. So to test it, you press the test button and then you have to push down reset really hard. If the light turns up red, it's working. As you can see, it's red, so the ground fault's working just fine. And it's plugged in correctly. Then, once you're done, once the reset button is all the way in, the light should turn off. So I just got my wireless charger for my phone, and once I plug it in, a light right here should turn on, showing me that it should work. Wrong way. Light's working. It works. So I just hooked it up like this so it could show this when it charges. And when I press this button, it should go back to the lock screen. It works. Now push it back in there. Should go back to the little standby mode. Yep, it works. And this is my 4-H project this year, an extension cord on a reel.